King Saul lost his kingdom in the hill country of Bethel. There his very large army of 3,000 men faced off against a Philistine army of 3,000 chariots, 6,000 men on horses, and soldiers, quote, as numerous as the sand on the seashore. It's pretty overwhelming odds. As daunting as the odds were, it was not the enemy that destroyed him, even though they were outnumbered 10-1. Now, King Saul's destruction came from inside him. It came from his lack of faith. He failed in that avenue. Saul knew that he needed to sacrifice to God before he could engage the enemy. He waited and he waited and he waited, and yet the prophet did not come. And after 7 days, Saul offered the sacrifice to himself. It sounds harmless, but God had already told him to let the prophet offer the sacrifice in 1 Samuel 13, verse 13. He had many reasons. Let's just go over those really quickly. He had many reasons for offering the sacrifice. Number one, he was scared. He had 3,000 soldiers against a massive army 10 times his size. He was pressured, number two, by the people. He said that he saw his soldiers leaving. Number three, he was logical. It seems just like the thing that you should have done. And number four is that it wasn't his fault. His first line of defense was, when I saw that the men were scattering. You know what those were? Those weren't reasons. Those were excuses. They're all just excuses. The truth here in this passage is far simpler. In the face of overwhelming odds, King Saul figured out the best way he knew how and did not simply trust God. He left God out of the equation. Seeing his lack of faith, the prophet told him in 1 Samuel 13, verse 14, "Now your kingdom will not endure. The Lord has sought out a man after his own heart and appointed him leader of his people, because you have not kept the Lord's command." King Saul lost his kingdom in the hill country of Bethel. He lost it because he did not have faith to do what God told him to do, exactly what God told him to do. He thought he had a better way of doing things. He thought God would not carry through with what he said he would do. Faith is not faith if it's the result of your own logic. When we decide to follow God, we decide to follow Him wholly. We put every part of our lives in subjection to Him. And that's not what the world says. That's not what the world teaches. The world teaches us to be independent. It teaches us to be self-sufficient. But we need to make sure that we follow the example here set in 1 Samuel 13 and not do what King Saul did, not take matters into our own hands, but trust in the faith of God.